Hey preschoolers, last week with Young Scientists we talked about animal homes, and I found an old book called The Dead Tree, and I'll let you figure out how this is a book about animal homes. It stood tall in the forest. For 100 years or more, the oak tree had grown and spread its shade. Birds nested in its shelter. Squirrels made their homes in ragged bundles of sticks and leaves held high in the branches. And in the fall, they garnered their winter food from the rich rain of acorns that fell from the tree. So that's already two animals, birds and squirrels, make their homes in trees. Tucked under its gnarled roots, small creatures found safety from the fox and owl. Slowly, slowly, over the years, the forest soil increased as the brown, leathery leaves, shaken down by the autumn winds, moldered under the snow. Alright, so little animals can be safe in the tree from the animals that are trying to eat them. But even as the tree grew, life gnawed at its heart. Carpenter ants tunneled through the strength of the oak. Termites ate out passageways in wondrous patterns. A broken limb let the dusty spores of fungus enter the heartwood of the tree, and a rot spread inside the healthy bark. Oh dear. Year by year, the tree grew weaker as its enemies worked. Each spring, fewer and fewer leaves unfolded, and its great reaching branches turned gray with death. Woodpeckers peppered the limbs with holes, looking for the tasty grubs and beetles that had tunneled the wood. And here and there, they dug bigger holes to hold their babies. The winter storms, one by one, the great branches broke and crashed to the floor of the forest until there remained only the proud trunk holding its broken arms up to the sky. Now it was the autumn weather, and it was long and lazy. Yellow-gray misty mornings, middays filled with false summer warmth, and the nights pierced with frost. And the weather's changing. Then came a day of hurricane wind and slashing rain, and as the fierce wind shrieked through the forest, the tree split off and crashed to the ground. There it lay shattered, with only a jagged stump to mark where it had stood for so long. The cruel days of winter followed, but it was still a home. A family of deer mice settled into a hole that had once held an arching branch. A rabbit found protection from the biting wind in the rotted center of the trunk. And the ants and termites, dormant grubs and silent fungus waited out the winter weather under the bark and deep in the wood. In the spring, the young sun warmed the forest floor, and acorns sprouted to replace the fallen giant. Now new life took over the dead tree. Old woodpecker holes made snug homes for chipmunks. The hollow center of the trunk sheltered a family of raccoons, while beneath the bark spread the wood-eating fungus, ghost white and sulfur yellow, and deep inside, the carpenter ants and the termites continued their digging and eating. On the underside, where the trunk lay half buried in the damp and musty leaf loam, the mosses stitched a green carpet softer than the softest wool. Fragile ferns clustered in its shadow. Mushrooms popped up out of the decaying mold, and scarlet clumps of British soldiers sprinkled the loosening bark. The years passed, and the oak hardwood grew soft and punky. It crawled with 100,000 grubs and beetles, centipedes with their scrambling, scurrying legs, snails and slugs all fed on the rotting wood, and earthworms made their way through the feast, helping to turn the tree once more into earth. Pale shelf fungus clung to the sides like clusters of giant clamshells, eating away and growing as the tree decayed. A skunk came waddling by with her string of babies. Sniffing at the wood, she ripped into its softness with her claws to uncover the scrambling life inside. Oh, all those bugs. And eagerly the family feasted. So secretive forest birds scratched and picked for grubs and worms, pulling the tree apart bit by bit, while the melting winter snows and soft spring rains hastened the rotting of the wood. And in this way, as new trees grew in strength from acorns that had fallen long ago, the great oak returned to the earth. On the ground there remained only a brown ghost of richer loam where the proud tree had come to rest. That was the life cycle of the tree, right? When it was standing tall and strong. It was a home for lots of animals and birds, and even when the tree decayed, it still provided a place for animals to eat and to be safe. So that is one type of animal home, and I bet you can think of a lot of others. I will have a story about construction jobs next time, I think.